This is a Fox News alert. The FBI revealing shocking new information about its investigation into Hillary Clinton and her private email server. Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle in for Greta Van Susteren. Today, the FBI releasing dozens of pages of documents from interviews with Clinton and her aides. Fox News chief intelligence correspondent Catherine Herridge is here. Catherine, what's the latest?
Well, thank you, Kimberly. This is the summary of the FBI interview. It's known as a 302. It's 11 pages long. Just to be clear for folks at home, the FBI does not routinely record interviews. That's why there's no transcript, just a summary of the agent's notes. And the key takeaway from this document is that more than 24 times on many of the key issues, Hillary Clinton told FBI agents that she simply did not remember or she could not recall. For example, she could not remember when she got a security clearance. She could not remember if she had special training for the handling of classified information. And she could not remember if she had briefings for some of the government's most closely held secrets known as special access programs. That's things like the drone campaign as well as human spying. She's asked about that in the interview. The key headline, I think, is that she is asked why she set up the server in the first place. She says she can't remember the details surrounding the setup in 2009, but she did it for convenience. But then there's no follow-on from the FBI agents. They do not press her on this issue. And I'm afraid this really reinforces some of the criticism we've heard from senior Republicans on the Hill that the FBI investigation simply did not drill down on this issue of intent, and that was the reason they did not proceed with criminal charges, Kimberly.
All right. Well, Catherine, what do we learn about the top 22 secret emails?
Right. Well, just to refresh people's memories, there were 22 top secret emails that were deemed just too damaging to national security to ever make public, and these are the special access programs intelligence, so the drone campaign, human spying, so operations for the CIA. And what we see again and again in the interview is that on the Clinton email server, they were discussing individuals who were involved in these programs. And it seems very clear now that they did put human lives at risk. And this was something that the Clinton campaign pushed back on very hard when we first reported it here at Fox News. But it's really hard to see how they could have thought that it was okay to be talking about such sensitive programs on a system that was just completely unsecured. As the FBI director said, it had less security than a commercial account like Gmail.
All right, Catherine, thank you for that update,
You're
especially
welcome.
as it relates to national security.
Yeah.
And the On the Record political panel is here to digest all this from Real Clear Politics, Caitlin Huey-Burns, and from the Wall Street Journal, John Bussey. Thanks for joining me on this Friday evening. An important breaking news, developing story here with respect to the email servers. You heard Fox's Catherine Herridge reporting on this. And again, the pushback from the Clintons saying that, no, this wasn't an issue of national security. And now here we see, in fact, evidence, proof that, in fact, there was a compromising situation put forward in a number of different emails.
Right. I don't think we're seeing anything that's new here. We knew that the FBI called this extremely careless, and guess what? It really looks extremely careless. This is a Secretary of State who can't recall whether or not she got security briefings, all sorts of details about the server. It looks really careless. It's not just her, it's her contemporaries in the State Department. We knew that there had been discussion of drones. We knew that they had had classified emails that should not have been circulated on that server. The data points that we have, there's like no smoking email in here, it seems. But it sure as heck does underscore the FBI's condemnation, essentially, of the Secretary of State as having been very careless.
Okay, but how does it cleanse sort of the ultimate conclusion? Because to me, as a former prosecutor, there's a lot to work with here in terms of showing her total disregard for the law, for the way she was supposed to maintain her server.
I don't think it does that.
Despite the ultimate conclusion.
But total disregard is a very big term. I don't think it does that. I think that in certain cases there was disregard, and the FBI has been correct in saying that it was careless. I just don't think that look, voters have been making up their minds in this election. I don't think that these data points are going to, because they are so similar to what we have already learned about how the emails were and weren't properly kept secure. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference in the election. What it will do, it keeps it in the news, and it will keep it before Congress, and that's bad for the Clinton campaign.
It's bad for the Clinton campaign. It's bad for, the presidency. I mean, people are looking in terms of who they can trust, credibility, reliability. I don't think her explanation, Caitlin, is really helping her politically by saying, well, I don't recall about all of these things. This is someone who was privy to national security clearance and served on the Armed Services Committee as well, so she knows better.
Right, exactly. And I agree, there's no, incriminating evidence, but the details do kind of color the picture for us about what FBI Director Comey was talking about when he was describing the carelessness. And you just have the images of, the aides smashing these phones with a hammer and that sort of thing. Again, you can see that playing out in opposition against her.
13 devices.
Now,
right.
if you look at what the broader implications are, I agree that a lot of perceptions of Clinton are kind of baked into the polling that we've seen. However, we have seen this week in that ABC Washington Post poll, her favorability ratings are dropping, almost rivaling Trump's. Now, what she has going for her, of course, is that Trump has higher negative ratings. And on the issue of trustworthiness, that's an issue that continues to dog Hillary Clinton. But you look at the issue of temperament on Donald Trump's side. So if you're a voter trying to parse this through, it's kind of a difficult decision to make, whether they trust Hillary Clinton, or the question, too, has to be asked, do they trust that Donald Trump wouldn't do these sorts of things, too? And that's not exactly clear, as we've seen, in terms of what the public thinks in this poll. So unfavorability ratings all around dogging these candidates.
And ultimately, John, you don't think that it's going to have a negative or lasting impact?
So, well, 20% of the electorate still hasn't made up its mind. People are still deciding, am I going to support Trump or am I going to support Hillary Clinton? This is going to feed into that calculation. I'll tell you, though, that as a citizen, one would hope that the State Department would have much better procedures than this. Not just the Secretary of State, but this is the bureaucracy of Washington really dropping the ball.
Yeah, that's the alarming aspect of it. I wish we had more time. Such an interesting discussion, John and Caitlin. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.